When we take cuttings to make a new rose, we take it from a rose that is already bloomed. And even though this still has a couple of blooms on it, I'm going to go ahead and take the cutting. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and take this one. And anywhere from 3 to 4 inches to 6 inches to 8 inches. I normally wouldn't. I would have let this bloom a little more, but I'm doing this to show you. We take a cutting. When a rose is getting ready to is blooming, it wants to reproduce itself. So because this rose can't reproduce itself now because I've cut it, or because it's bloomed and the flowers were cut off, now it still wants to reproduce itself, more so than one that didn't have a bloom on it. That's why we take from flowers that have already bloomed, because they're trying to reproduce themselves. I take my cutting, I take off most of the leaves, and I leave some leaf because you have to, because that's where the rose is going to get its food. And I cut the bottom of it, again at an angle, and I have a little wound right here. I make a little wound in it because that's where the roots come out. Then I stick it in some kind of rooting hormone. You can even use willow branch. You can even use that. I dip it in there for a few seconds, and then I put it into a medium. It could be something as simple as sand. Sometimes I use just builder's sand. Works. I use peat and perlite, but my favorite thing to use is coconut coir, because in peat there is a root rot fungus that lives in peat, in most peat, and it's harder to get them to take in the peat. But the coconut or just straight perlite works. I just haven't had time. So this is how I do my go into bigger pots. Okay. Now these are also waiting to go into bigger pots.